Welcome back into Pigskin Perspectives. I'm your host, as always, Nick Burt. It's conference championship week in college football. We have 10 games on the slate. I mean, it was, 6-7 years ago when conferences would just have random conference games on this day, and it was just a lot of football. Every conference has conference championship now. Got 10 of them this weekend. We have a NFL schedule that's hopefully going to be better than next week, or last week, I should say. Hopefully it's going to be an exciting weekend of football, and we are here to preview it as we always do. With college football, no six-pack today. Given that there's only 10 games, it felt dumb to leave 4 of them out. So we will be going game by game, just taking a look at what we have ahead of us in conference championship week. So to start off, we're going to start off with the Friday slate. Only 2 games, but 2 intriguing games 2 different ways. New Mexico State is traveling to Virginia to face off against Liberty. That's number 24 ranked Liberty in the latest CFP poll. The 7 p.m. kickoff on CBS Sports Network for the CUSA title. Liberty coming into this game undefeated, obviously. They are... I'm not going to say they're a good undefeated team because I do think part of this plays in their schedule this year. Not great. The CUSA, not great. If there is a team that's going to take them down, it's going to be New Mexico State. Even though they played earlier in the year and Liberty won, it's hard to beat a team twice. And that wants to give me the upper hand to New Mexico State in this one. But given that it's at Liberty, I like Liberty in this game. And this game could have major implications on the New Year's Six because we'll get to it. But if Tulane lose, Liberty is in that driver's seat to make a New Year's Six bowl game as the highest rated group of 5 team. So a lot on the line in this game, more than what would usually be on the line for a CUSA championship. Speaking of, it's hard to beat a team twice. It is number 6 Oregon and number 3 Washington traveling to Las Vegas to face off in the final of this iteration, Pac-12 championship game, 8 p.m. kickoff, ABC. This is hopefully going to be an outstanding game. I think game of the weekend. I am worried, though, I'll be honest. You can see I am wearing a vintage Oregon Ducks jersey tonight. I am worried for the Ducks. The line currently sits at 9.5 for the Ducks. I've seen it at 10. I've seen it at 9. I don't know why this line is so high. I know. I've said basically since the Oregon game that Washington's not good, this, that, blah, blah, blah. I've said Oregon looks like a freight train, this, that, blah, blah, blah. And here I sit on November 9:06 on November 30th as this is being recorded. And I'm dumbfounded on why this line is so high. I get that Oregon has a good chance of just steamrolling through this game. But there's nobody right now, absolutely nobody that's picking Washington to win this game. That worries me. Listen, I know, Vegas is always right. You never doubt the books. This, I believe, opened right at 8.5 or 9, somewhere around there. So the line has been moving more towards Oregon. I sit here and I wonder, why is this so high? Obviously, it came down to a field goal in the last game that was missed. I would say Oregon wins that game if that field goal is made. Obviously, it wasn't. 4th down conversions obviously played a part in them losing that game. But if you convert on 4th down, you don't have to worry about 4th down. So that's a wise man told once. I don't know. The line really worries me. I think Oregon are going to win this game because it is hard to beat a team twice in the same year. I don't think this is going to be the same Washington team we saw in Seattle. I truly do think Penix is injured and just playing through it, which is one of the ideas of all time. But the fact absolutely nobody's talking about Washington winning this game does worry me. I mean, they're 12-0. They're undefeated. I mean, come on. They're an undefeated team. I think the real question here is what's going to happen if Oregon wins? Because if Washington wins, they're clearly in the playoff. I think if Oregon wins, they're clearly in the playoff. I just realized that Oregon is number 5 in the college football playoff and not 6. So this graphic is wrong. I don't know. We'll get to the playoff discussion after all of this. It's just something that needs to be discussed eventually. I like Oregon in this game. I don't love the line. It scares me, honestly. But if I did have to pick, I'm taking... give me the Ducks, I guess. Like I said, this game scares me. I really don't know which way this is going to go. Moving on to Saturday, we'll start off with the noon-ish window. These two games kick off at noon. Is Big 12 Championship, number 18 Oklahoma State facing off against number 7 Texas in Arlington. They're playing at Jerry World, AT&T Stadium. Texas' last ever Big 12 game. Obviously, their last regular season one was last week. They made it here. Oklahoma State still has a long future ahead of them. They can play spoiler for Texas in their final Big 12 game. I don't know what Oklahoma State is. They've looked like a very good team parts of the season. They've looked like an awful team other parts of the season. Texas, I think, has been a consistent train other than their loss, which, is what it is. Because now we're starting to get playoff hypotheticals and all that. If Texas wins this game, it puts the committee more in a who knows what interesting twist. But this is the game this week. I kind of like the underdog in this one. I like Oklahoma State. I think they're a good team. They just have to show up like they did when they played Oklahoma. Play this like you're playing Oklahoma and they win this game. This Texas last dance in the Big 12. They've blown off the Big 12 to go get the SEC money. This one last parting gift. I think Mike Gundy can get it done. It was 2021, right? When Oklahoma State was in the Big 12 title and all they had to do was win to get into the playoff and they lost to Baylor. Kind of feel like this might be a return gift for the Cowboys if they get the victory in this one. Sneaky good game in Detroit at noon on ESPN. It is the MAC championship between Miami of Ohio and Toledo. Both these teams are very good. Toledo has one loss on the season, which was the opening game against Illinois, where they got a bad penalty that led Illinois down the field on the final drive and just changed the complexion of the game and cost them to lose the game. I think they should be in the New Year's Six conversation, but given that they're in the MAC, they're not. Miami, also no slouch of a team. I think they're at 9-3 or 8-4, somewhere around there. They're still a very good team. I think this is going to be quite an entertaining game. I believe these two have faced off earlier this season. Toledo escaped with victory. So we're in another scenario where it's hard to beat a team twice. I don't see this Toledo train stopping. I think they're going to be 11-1 going into whatever sad bowl game they go into because the CFP rankings don't care about the MAC, basically. I'm interested to see where this game goes. I'm excited by it. This game looks entertaining on paper, and I'm excited to see where it goes. So moving on, we're now getting into the mid-afternoon window. 3 p.m. kickoff on Fox. Is Boise State traveling down to Las Vegas to take on UNLV? And as far as I know, as they're selling tickets to it. This game is also at Allegiant Stadium, so that's going to be a quick flip around for the grounds crew there to get from the Pac-12 title field to the Mountain West title field. This game was decided on Sunday by computers because there was a three-way tie. San Jose State gets left out of this title game. Even though they beat UNLV last week, they get left out, and we are left with Boise State facing off against UNLV, a Boise State team that did fire their coach like 3 or 4 weeks ago. And now here they are in the championship game of the Mountain West. Barry Odom, great job in his first season at UNLV. I really questioned the hiring because I really questioned the firing of the previous coach. I'm like, I just don't know. Marcus Arroyo, I think. I didn't get why. I felt like they were finally making progress. Yeah, I don't think Arroyo would have gotten them to this point. I think Barry Odom has done quite a good job in his first season. I wouldn't be surprised if other schools are sniffing around trying to get him as their next head coach. Although I don't know if there's many openings right now, which is kind of surprising. But I think UNLV get it done. This just been like a magical season for them. It kind of feels like the great ending to it. I think UNLV get the Mountain West Championship here. So 2 championships awarded in Vegas this weekend. We'll see what happens there. Then we move on to the big game. Well, not the big game because I already said Oregon-Washington was the game of the weekend. The second big game. It is 12-0, number 1 Georgia, facing off against 11-1, number 8th ranked Alabama. This game could throw the playoff into chaos. If Alabama wins this game, it's going to be mass chaos ensuing. I don't know what happens then. Obviously, that's something that would need to be discussed if Alabama wins. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Alabama wins. They just look like they've got things flowing right now. And it just... Georgia, yeah, they're a very good team. I think both teams were in a look-ahead spot last week, which is why they didn't look as good. I still think Georgia ends up winning this game. But if Alabama wins this, I would not be surprised at all. And at that point, I have no idea what the playoff does, honestly. I truly don't think I can see Alabama jumping from 8-4 to get into the playoff. But also, I don't know. That's a discussion that will be had if we get to it. Because if we don't get to it, it's just wasted air. I like both teams in this one. I think both are firing on almost all cylinders right now. Alabama, it took a miracle for them to pull it out last week. It's going to take probably something similar this week to beat this Georgia team. But if there is anybody to defeat Kirby Smart, it is Nick Saban. And if he can pull this off, I think it honestly is probably one of his best SEC titles in his career at Alabama. Because coming into this season, like, yes, obviously people believed in Alabama, but compared to other seasons, this was going to be a down year. And if he can get it done with this roster, wow. Especially against this Georgia team. If he can get that done, wow. Moving on, still in the 4 o'clock window, 2 more games here. SMU are traveling down to New Orleans to face off against the number 22 ranked Tulane Green Wave. Yulman Stadium will be rocking for this one. Second straight year them hosting this game. If Tulane wins, they're going to get that New Year's Six bid for the second straight year. If they don't, it's going to Liberty. I don't know why SMU isn't ranked, honestly. I think SMU should probably be sitting at like 25 right now and have this game basically be the decider for that. And if SMU wins, they just jump Liberty. But I don't see that happening given that they haven't been ranked. SMU's been on a roll lately. Their offense looks outstanding. It's going to take a very big effort from this Tulane defense to get victory in this one. And it's going to be up to the defense to get victory in this one on both sides of the ball. Because Tulane's offense, they're not as good as this SMU offense has been looking, but they're still quite good, and you're going to have to make stops. Can I see Tulane losing this game? Yes. Given it's not at a neutral site and it's in New Orleans, that gives them the upper hand, and I think they end up pulling out victory in this one. Even though SMU's offense is just looking so good right now, I think somehow, some way Tulane get it done. Moving on to the Sun Belt, their conference championship features Appalachian State traveling down to Troy, Alabama, I believe. I think they're in Alabama to face off against the Troy Trojans. Truly and honestly, Appalachian State shouldn't be here. It should be James Madison, but due to the 2-year movement period because of moving to FCS to FBS, they're banned from postseason play, and therefore Appalachian State's in this position. Even though Appalachian State beat JMU should still be in this game. Appalachian State's a good team. They haven't looked like some of the great teams that they've had the past few years. Troy just, I think, has an extra gear. I think Troy get it done in this one just because this, once again, a home field advantage type thing. I think due to the home field advantage, they get this done here. Moving on, we're now into the primetime window. 2 games in the primetime, both at 8 o'clock. This one's on Fox. It's number 2 Michigan facing off against number 16 Iowa in Indianapolis. There was a line I saw. I don't remember what sports book. The over-under for Iowa points in the first half was 0.5. So you're basically betting if Iowa scores or not in the first half. This is going to be quite interesting. Michigan has very outstanding defense. They've stopped any offense that has basically faced them this year. Ohio State was getting there in the second half. They were starting to break them down. They still got it done. Iowa has no offense. They punt the ball. It's 3 and out. Punt, 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 punt. That's why you get line or over-unders of 25.5 in Iowa games. This one, I believe, sits at 34.5 right now. Iowa's defense, one of the best in the conference. Michigan's offense hasn't looked great the past few weeks, if we're honest. Wouldn't it be something if Iowa could get something done here? It's not going to happen. Michigan's going to win this game by 20. But the final score might be 20-0. As much as I want to say Iowa even has the slimmest of shots, they don't. Michigan's going to win this game. They're going to the playoff. They'll end up doing something there that will truly shock the world. Most likely another loss, just like they have the past 2 years. And then the final game of this conference championship weekend, it is number 14 Louisville facing off against number 4 Florida State. And if there was a game that I had to say I think the underdog is winning, it's this one. Florida State's still the favorite in this game, even though Tade Rodemaker is the quarterback because of Jordan Travis's injury. Louisville is coming off a loss to Kentucky. They are going to want to get that taste of losing out of their mouths. Florida State had to come back and escape victory in the swamp against a now 5-7 Florida team that wasn't good. If there was one team this weekend I think can get this done, I think it's Louisville. I know a lot of discussion has been had about should Florida State make the playoff even if they win the ACC title, given that Travis is injured. I don't know. I truly don't know. I just, if there's a team that can get it done, I think it's Louisville. I'm not going to predict victory for them here, but I'm just saying if I had to pick one game this weekend where the underdog is going to win and I believe in it, it is the Louisville game. So given that, since conference championship week has been previewed, I figured before Sunday, before all these results, I'll just say what I think the top 4 is going to end up being. I think it's going to end up being Georgia at 1, Michigan at 2, I'm going to go with Oregon at 3. And then at 4, see, this is difficult here. So Georgia's going to be playing in the Sugar Bowl. The Michigan-Oregon game would be at the Rose Bowl. Who would play Georgia in the Sugar Bowl? I'm going to say Texas. If I'm truly believing in Louisville, I think they somehow get it done. They win the conference. They're not going to be in the playoff discussion. Then you have a discussion of who gets that 4th spot. And at that point, it's a one-loss Washington team that lost in the conference championship game, an Ohio State team that wasn't in the conference championship, and what I predict is a Texas victory in the Big 12 title. I think Texas gets the jump over the other two, especially given the brand of Texas, like the largest college football brand in the world. Odd to say, but it's true. I think Texas gets the jump on that. Having the title, one loss, I think they would end up being that 4th spot. But I also wouldn't be surprised if they sneak in Ohio State. Now, Washington's case, they're done if they lose. I don't see a way at all of them getting in. Even though they were undefeated coming into the weekend, I just don't see a way of it happening, honest. I just don't see it. So given that, the playoff will be Sunday. There may be a show mixed in there. Who knows? That's college football this weekend. There's FCS playoffs. I haven't looked deep enough into those to give you an in-depth preview or anything, so we'll just gloss over those for now. Maybe next week, given there's only one game next week, we'll take a look at what's going on in the FCS. Moving on to the NFL. We got a game going on right now. It's Seahawks, Cowboys. Both teams played on Thanksgiving last week. They're both playing right now. Obviously, we will get a full recap of that one come next week. But, I mean, both teams had very opposite performances last week on Thanksgiving. The Cowboys had that blowout victory against the Commanders. Seahawks, not as great. It was a final score of 31-13 or something like that. As of now, just at the point in this game, I truly don't have a good feeling about either side. I mean, right now it's second quarter still, and it's 17-14 Cowboys. This game is just hot start. The over is most likely going to hit, but neither team has done much to impress me, I'd say. So moving on to Sunday, and we kick it off with a game. I'm kind of just, I don't even know. It is the Tennessee Titans against the Indianapolis Colts. I believe this game is in Indianapolis, even though Lucas Oil Stadium is being used for the Big Ten Championship the night before. I'm 95% sure this game is in Indy, so that's going to be a quick flip over. That thing's got to be cleared out quickly. Speaking of cleared out quickly, it's got to be this Titans team. They're not good at all. They're going to finish bottom in this division, the AFC South. And I've just confirmed this game's not in Indianapolis. This game's in Tennessee. So all that flipping the field quick, not happening. I still like the Colts in this one. The Colts are a much better team. I don't know what the Titans are doing at the quarterback position. I know they have Will Levis out there. He doesn't look good. I like the Colts. I think they're making a sneaky run at getting into the playoffs. They look like a good team right now. They don't look great. They don't look awful. Chargers, Patriots. The Patriots. Still the Patriots. And by that, I mean the Patriots we've seen all year. And them looking quite bad. The Chargers will sneak away with a victory somehow. This will be a one-score game because that's the way the Chargers play. They'll try to give it away as much as possible, but I just feel like the Chargers find a way to pull out victory in this one. The Lions traveled down to New Orleans to face off against the Saints. The Lions need this one. If they don't get this one, I think we're going to start seeing a snowball effect. Because you lost to the Packers. You still, your last 3 games of the season, I think it's the last 3. We'll go last 4, I think. It's Denver at home. I want to say Minnesota away, Dallas away, Minnesota at home. That's 4 most playoff-ish teams. I'm not going to say Minnesota's a playoff team. I'm not going to say Denver's a playoff team. They're on the bubble. They're on the outside looking in right now. If that snowball keeps rolling, there's a chance the Lions don't win this division. I've said that for a long time now. There's a chance the Lions don't win this division. If these losses start just becoming continual, we've got a problem. I think the Lions will win this game. I think they sneak away with it, though. The Saints, they're not great because they're in the AFC South, and the AFC South is awful. But I don't know. Another game that's going to be quite awful. The battle of 2 bad quarterbacks. It's going to be the Atlanta Falcons and the New York Jets. Desmond Ridder against Tim Boyle. I might not even watch this one. Just give me the highlights. This is going to be an awful game. It just will be. The Arizona Cardinals will be traveling to Pittsburgh to face off against the Steelers. The Steelers might be figuring it out. They don't have Matt Canada anymore running their offense. So, hey, especially going up against the Cardinals, a team that has made it clear that they're tanking this year. I've said that many times. Maybe they get it done here. Who knows? The Dolphins travel to Washington to take on the Commanders. This is a proper Dolphins setup here. They'll blow out the Commanders. They'll keep looking good until they make the playoffs and face an actual good team, and then it will fall apart. The Broncos, stunningly hot Broncos, are traveling to Houston to face off against the Texans. I'm excited about this one. These are 2 very good-looking teams right now. Given it's in Houston, though, I like the Texans in this one. The Texans have played really well this year, given that this is truly like year 1 of their build back of their rebuild. Because you have build down, then you hit the rebuild, then you build up, and then you're out of the rebuild. The Texans have looked quite good this year. CJ Stroud, very good quarterback. Just given how hot the Broncos have looked right now, it's going to be a tough test for them. But I think the Texans pull away with victory in this one. A 4:05 game. It's an NFC South special. It's the Panthers. I honestly don't even know who their interim coach is. Facing off against the Buccaneers. This is almost like the Falcons-Jets game. Just give me the highlights. I don't plan on watching this because it's going to be awful football. Game of the weekend. Yeah, I can say that. Game of the weekend. It's the San Francisco 49ers traveling to Philadelphia to face off against the Eagles. The Eagles coming off that overtime victory against the Bills. The 49ers coming off their somewhat blowout victory of the Seahawks on Thanksgiving, so they have the extra rest. Given that they had the extra rest, give me the 49ers in this game. I think the Eagles finally get their second loss, and that NFC playoff picture shakes up a little. Also at 4:25, it is the Cleveland Browns, who might be starting Joe Flacco at quarterback. Yes, 38-year-old Joe Flacco may be getting a start in the year of our Lord 2023. They're facing off against the LA Rams. They've stayed in LA the whole week. They didn't go back to Cleveland after the Denver game. if Joe Flacco is starting at quarterback, the Browns are losing this game. If Dorian Thompson-Robinson can come out of concussion protocol, be good for the game, if Myles Garrett's healthy, I think the Browns sneak away with victory. But if Joe Flacco is starting, give me the Rams. Sunday Night Football, it's a rematch of the first World Championship AFL-NFL game, aka Super Bowl I. It is the Packers and it is the Chiefs. Listen, the Packers, they're starting to figure it out. Chiefs are still the Chiefs. Given that the Packers are starting to figure this out, Jordan Love returning to the site of his first career start. You'll remember he started because Aaron Rodgers had COVID. And this game was at Arrowhead. I think they lost that one. Give me the Chiefs. I tried to convince myself into the Packers on that one. I just can't. But the rest of the schedule does play out quite nice for the Packers to maybe sneak in. And then finally, Monday Night Football. It is the Cincinnati Bengals and the Jacksonville Jaguars. This game would have been a lot more exciting if Joe Burrow was still at quarterback. It would be a quarterback rematch of the 2020 national title game. But given that Joe Burrow is out, I got to pick the Jags in this one because the Bengals just aren't the same team without him. So given that is going to be it for this episode of Pigskin Perspectives. Hopefully you enjoyed this video talking about Conference Championship Week, NFL. Hopefully you learned something. If you enjoyed this video, stumbled across it, hit like, hit subscribe, tell anybody you know about it. We'll maybe have an episode Saturday night or Sunday recapping the conference championship games. If it's Sunday, we'll be recapping the championship games and then talking about the playoff. If not, it will be on Tuesday. We'll still have a show on Tuesday, no matter what. But hopefully we will see you whenever that next episode is for the next episode of Pigskin Perspectives.